Comparisons to the chatter that was heard pre-9/11, and I know you weren't in the Senate then, but do you think, based on the briefings you've gotten, that the threat is that serious?
The briefings that I've received certainly emphasize that these threats are specific and credible, equal, if not more serious, to the kind of chatter, as the intelligence community calls it, that was heard prior to 9/11. And I think the approaching 9/11 date emphasizes the importance for this kind of precautionary, sensible measure. The alert that was issued, the closing of embassies, the vigilance that is necessary on the part of ordinary citizens, I think are all well merited.
You know, I'm going to ask you the question, since you have those briefings and information that you can't share with us, the question that I've been getting from friends and family throughout the weekend, which is how worried should I be if they're traveling abroad, if they're getting on a train, if they're getting on a plane anywhere domestically, how worried should the average American be?
The average American should continue to be alert and vigilant and cautious, but certainly not unduly alarmed or panicky. The whole point about these precautions is to protect an open and democratic society such as we have in the United States. We can't harden every institution in America, nor can we really harden all our embassies to make them absolutely terrorist-proof. That's the nature of our open society. But precaution, vigilance, and vigor in the intelligence gathering function, especially in the wake of some of the concerns, and I've been one to express them, about rights of privacy and the transparency and accountability of this process. I think we are relearning or reemphasizing that security absolutely is essential in our society, but we need to be mindful that the American values and rights that we protect make us more open and transparent, and we need to preserve those great values.
I want to read to you something that was in the New York Times. Quote, some analysts and congressional officials suggested Friday that emphasizing a terrorist threat now was a good way to divert attention from the uproar over the NSA's data collection programs, and that if it showed the intercepts had uncovered a possible plot, even better. Well, let me play for you what Peter King had to say about that.
It's absolutely crazy to say there's any conspiracy here. I mean, Dutch has seen the intelligence. I've seen it. The government would have been totally negligent if it did not take the actions taken.
Senator, what's your reaction?
I think Representative King is right that there certainly was no conspiracy. At least I don't have any evidence that there was, to try to divert attention from the concerns that I and others have raised about the transparency and accountability of the process. And it certainly won't divert me and others. We need to strike a balance. There's no question that we need to emphasize security, but we can have both liberty and security. And the vast invisible powers exercised by our government emphasize the need for preserving these rights and opening, for example, as I proposed, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act Court, the FISA Court, so that its opinions and rulings are made public, so that we have an adversarial process with a special advocate representing constitutional rights, and a method of selecting the members of the court that enhances its diversity in geography and background and political viewpoint.
Well, to that point, let me play for you and then get your reaction to something Glenn Greenwald had to say.
Opinion, 86 pages long, from the FISA Court that ruled that much of what the NSA is doing with spying on American citizens is both unconstitutional, in violation of the Fourth Amendment, and illegal, a violation of the statute. This opinion remains a complete secret. The FISA Court has said they have no objection to having it released, but the Obama administration insists it has to be secret.
What do you say to Glenn Greenwald?
I say he has a point that these rulings and opinions need to be disclosed and declassified, if only for the sake of the appearance and the credibility and trust of the American people in that institution. If you were to say that a court operates in secret, issues opinions in secret, its deliberations are all secret, its judges are secret in all the work they do, sounds a lot like the kind of Star Chamber or secret proceedings that existed at the time of our revolution and our rebellion against England. This court is a black box. It needs to be opened in at least some ways so that trust and credibility are maintained and enhanced, which is the reason for my proposal that there be an adversarial process, that opinions be disclosed and declassified, and that there be a different method of selection, all consistent with national security. And I emphasize, consistent with national security. We need to strike that balance.
Senator Richard Blumenthal, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you.
Ambassador, let me go back to the New York Times quote, because there's been so much controversy over the NSA. Is this potentially going